I want to begin by thanking the Member of Parliament for Foyle for bringing this important debate before us today. It's crucially important that we get a public inquiry into the murder of Pat Finucane after all these years, and it's crucially important that we discuss the wider issues of the Troubles of Northern Ireland and Army, Police and Secret Service collusion in particular. These are difficult, painful issues, but sweeping them under the carpet serves our society very badly. If we want to live in a safe, stable and hopeful communities, we cannot ignore our troubled past. If we want to create a future where violence and terrorism are a thing of the past, we have to start by an honest and truthful assessment of what led us to that dark place. Although clearly it's important to remember the circumstances of Pat Finucane's murder in 1989, painful as that may be, and the wider circumstances that led to this atrocity, there's no need for the campaign for a public inquiry to persuade anyone of the facts. They've been conceded by government. It's already been found that Pat Finucane's shooting by loyalists involved state agents, that collusion has already been established. Not only that, but in February last year, the Supreme Court held that previous inquiries into the murder did not meet human rights standards. And the Northern Ireland Secretary has given his commitment in a court of law that a decision will be made by the end of the month on whether to order a public inquiry or not. And I would plead with him to do so, not just for the Finucane family, but for the thousands of victims of the Troubles. Because the reality is that the family of Pat Finucane represents so many other victims of the Troubles, families whose lives have been shattered not just by the tragic events that deprived them of their loved ones, but the secrecy, delay and cover-ups that have stood in the way of justice and of truth. I've sat in on a number of Northern Ireland Affairs Committee sessions since I joined in June this year, where victims' groups have described the distress of waiting for justice, and sometimes not even justice, but information, to understand the truth of what happened to their family members. In the eyes of the people who matter most of all in this, that is the victims of the Troubles, the government have failed on the legacy issue. And what I've heard from all communities is a lack of confidence amongst the victims' families that justice will be done, facts established and lessons learned. The government now have a serious responsibility to repair some of that damage and to give people some sense of closure and peace, no matter how hard that is. For Pat Finucane and his family, we need, as our Shadow Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, Louise, Haigh, said, the full truth. The family need that. The many victims of the Troubles need that. But also Northern Ireland needs that. The people of Northern Ireland, from all communities, have to be sure that the lessons of these terrible acts are learned, so they'll never happen again. To do that, to get to that point, the Prime Minister, the Northern Ireland Office and the Government should act now, without any more delay. It starts with ordering a public inquiry into the full circumstances of Pat Finucane's murder, and it must continue by re-establishing some confidence in the legacy process. And finally, we must all learn the lessons of these terrible tragedies and Northern Ireland's traumatic past, not in order to dwell on the past or reopen old rifts, but to look forward. Thank you.